All right, today we're going to talk about Empties from 2007. It's a Czech comedy, and so it stars this old man, and I won't try to pronounce his name, Josef, there we go, Josef. And it's kind of reminiscent of some of the comedies, I guess dramedies, that we might see in Hollywood, like A Man Called Otto, or like, oh, I'm sure there's more, and they're probably all star Tom Hanks. But Las Vegas, there's one of them. But these type of like old people comedies that are very charming, and a lot of the times I feel like the ones that we see in Hollywood that have come out, they're just like, you kind of just roll your eyes at, and it kind of is just to get some maybe older demographic into the audience. Having worked at a theater, I've seen that firsthand. Having seen this one, I really did enjoy it. And I think it was very just, it's what it needed to be. It was very charming. It was very European, if that makes much sense. I'm not going to elaborate on that. It was just very European. And I think that it hit some of the beats that you were expecting it to hit, but it also had a very interesting ending, and it had a very interesting, like, just main character. The main character really did drive most of the movie, and he was phenomenal. And I think that this movie, it's charming. It's not meant to be taken very seriously in the way that the main character, he's not like the best guy out there, but you just root for him just because, the actor's kind of just really good. And it's a very silly story. I think it boils down to the multiple stories that were going on and how he's kind of like interweaving everything in his life. Because I think that the story doesn't always 100% follow the same storyline. There's like a lot of different things going on at the same time, and I think that's kind of fun. I think that the main storylines are kind of just like interweaved, kind of like you might see in like a TV episode. Like, he is involved in pretty much all of these storylines, but they're kind of interweaved in a way where it's like you jump from different part to different parts. And I think that kind of just kept the flow of the movie going. Whereas if you were just lingering on maybe like his relationship with his wife the whole time, that might just get a bit more formulaic and a bit stale. But the fact that we're jumping from place to place all the time, it was pretty fun. And I think that at its core, it really is just one of those movies about a charming old fellow who's trying to prove that, age, it's not a barrier for, living life and having a good time. And it's a message as old as time, pun intended. But it is a lot of fun. And when you see that message, which is a very, it's a fun, lighthearted message, portrayed in such a, I don't know, I wouldn't say unique, but in a fresh new package, then I really did enjoy it. Because I think it started off really well. I'll go into spoilers here, just a quick recap. He has a job as a teacher, a student, very loudmouth, very annoying, and he wrings out a towel on him, and he's known as the ringer because he's done it 4 times, which he makes very clear. And then he decides that he doesn't want to do that job anymore, and he tries to find another passion. And his passion, he took it from trying to do a courier service on bicycle. Then he got in a very, very silly crash where he literally flew off his bike, it seemed like. I think they must have had a rope there, or a stunt, or just a stunt double, or just a dummy tossed off that bicycle. Very, very silly. And then he decides to take a job at a store and taking the used bottles and recycling them. And I think those scenes are probably some of my favorite, where he's just interacting with the customers and being just like a very personable guy, making these relationships with the customers, taking in the empties, and the grand metaphor. It is called empty. That's, empties are things that people wish to get rid of, to throw away. But that could also relate to people who are of a certain age, or maybe they think that their life is, it's empty. It's worth throwing away. They're at this age now, and what's the point anymore? And he proves in this film, I feel like the main thesis in the movie, that he proves that, worth living with the relationships that he is able to cultivate along the way. But I do think that with that message, if it was just that, it would have been, you know, it would have been an okay movie. But I think that his relationship with his wife, it's very interesting in that they're at a rough patch, or it seems like a rough spell that has gone on for quite some time, where he often fantasizes about other people. We see these dreams that he have. We see these dreams that he has about other women that he knows in his life. And this scenario that he has where he would be on a train and they would be like a stewardess and they come in and they're like, oh, we're not getting off for a while. And then they undress, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so I think some of the things that subtly like rung true, I mean by that, I think there are some things that subtly hit hard but are presented in this lighthearted package are the wife's feelings. I know she outwardly says them. She really does. And she says that, oh, you just want to get a job to be away from me. You haven't loved me for a while. You haven't been attracted to me for a while. And I do think that the wife's performance and like the subtlety of that, subtlety, I mean like subtlety in how it hurts her, not in how she's expressing it. Because she outwardly says it to him. But I think, yeah, the way that she's expressed it is like she says it to him and then it doesn't really like, they don't have this like dramatic moment where they linger on it really. Then they go on and do something more lighthearted, like go on a hot air balloon and almost die. And then she starts, you know, getting all crazy. She's like, oh, we're going to die. And he's like, you know, look at the river. That's where we did it for the first time. And it doesn't linger on those dramatic moments, which I kind of enjoyed. Yeah, it deviates into weird Twin Peaks territory for a bit with these daydreams. You know what? That's a funny connection. That is a funny connection. The Red Room, that's his own Red Room. I don't think that connection was on purpose, but that is a funny connection. But yeah, I think my general point about this movie is that it does have some more dramatic themes in the comedic package that I think that it's unique in a way that it doesn't linger on those dramatic moments, but those dramatic moments still carry a bit of weight. It's a very interesting way that they meshed it all together. Because every time somebody is like upset about something, say it be the wife, or say it be the guy who's smitten with his daughter or his daughter, and they're upset about something, they never really linger on those moments of them being really upset and you have that really quiet, slow, dramatic moment. They kind of just move on with it. And I think that's the charm about this movie. And it's, you know, it does relate to the theme in general where it's like, yeah, you know, when you get to an age, a lot of things are very serious. A lot of things you really reflect on your life, but you know, just carrying that lightheartedness throughout it makes things easier. I say as a 23-year-old, but you know, that's what I got from it. That's what I, you know, thought about while watching it, and it was just an enjoyable little ride. And the ending was very interesting because, you know, you have this very nice ending where it's like they're in this balloon, they almost die, blah blah blah, but they kind of make up a bit, you know, it's an experience. They see that he really enjoyed it. He's very childlike in the hot air balloon. It's like, okay, you know, things could go okay, you know, slightly optimistic. And then the very last scene, after a bit of credits roll, he's on this train and they're seemingly happy, him, his wife, and his grandson. And then he's like the conductor in the train, and then he goes to another car, and then he says the line that he often received during his dream. Oh, the train's not stopping for a while. And we don't see in that car, we don't see who's in there. And then he walks in and closes the door. And I'm kind of just digesting it right now because I did just watch it like less than an hour ago. That's when it ended. And I think that it is a role reversal. So I'm trying to just process it right now. So it is a role reversal. Usually he's the one in the car and then somebody comes in, a woman that he knows comes in, and then they're like, oh, we're not stopping for an hour. But he's the one to do it this time. Which, what does that mean? I don't know. But also, that could be a dream still at the very end. Or it's a metaphor where it's like, you know, you spend time with your family and then you go off and you commit adultery. I don't know what it means, really. But it was an interesting ending. And it's the one kind of like thought-provoking part right at the end. The end credit scene, the 2007 end credit scene really got me thinking. But again, I don't think it's really terribly deep. I think it might have just been a gag even at the end, but you know, I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was lighthearted. It was a romp. It means he's taking control. He's taking control of his life. Previously, his life was determined by his fantasies, his need to have a job to get away from his wife. But now he's created a balance. And he's taking control of his life. We don't see in the car because it's not necessarily another woman. Maybe it's just a new passion that he's found. A new job. Who knows? Who knows? A new friend. But yeah, you know, that does make sense. And yeah, I don't know. It was pretty fun. It was silly. It was lighthearted. And also that he's thinking about others instead of being the object. He's thinking about others instead of being the object. Yeah. So I guess if we're thinking of it that way, then himself being the object, does he see himself throughout the movie as just like silly old man for people to interact with at the grocery store? He's kind of like a caricature, and he kind of wants to break free of that. Like his fantasy was women orchestrating the fantasy for him, but now he's orchestrating it for his wife. Was that supposed to be his wife? I don't know. I think the geography of that really wasn't very clear. No, because it seemed like he was in a car, a train car, and then with his wife and his grandson, and then he closed it, and then he walked a few doors down, and then he opened it to like a different person because his wife would have been in the previous car. But I think it would have been charming if it was for his wife. Or maybe I'm just going crazy and I'm not reading the situation correctly. That cut right there. Maybe. Because this cut here. So he's in this car. But I guess this cut doesn't necessarily mean it's directly after. Because I guess he's looking out a window. I thought he was like looking back in the car at his family being like, hey, what's up? Bunch of random kids. But that would have been weird if his grandson was in there too. Like, whose hand is this? We have to analyze this hand. Is that an old lady hand? Or is that a young lady hand? I see you're traveling alone. But they weren't. They had the kid there. And it plays like this upbeat music. I don't know. I don't know. We can take it either way. What are you? Want to be optimist about it? He's doing a role play for his wife? Or he's having an affair. But he's taking control of his life. Instead of dreaming about affairs, he actually has them. Who knows? Who knows? Still. It was fun. It was a good time.